All right, welcome to our stock market update. Today is, what is today? Monday, October 25th. And with me in the studio is my head coach, Mark Hodge. Hey, Mark, how's it going?
I'm doing well, Marcus. How are you?
Doing good, doing good. Wow. It seems that we will have a crazy week ahead of us. So let's talk about the top three things that can actually shock the markets this week. So, I mean, just going back to Friday for a moment. So, I mean, last week, we had what? The Dow made a new record close on Friday. So this is what happened. And then the S&P made a new record close on Thursday. So both of these big indices made new record highs. The Nasdaq lagging a little bit. So the Nasdaq not yet at record highs, but that's where we stand with these two indices.
Yeah, last week was a pretty impressive week overall. So on Friday the Dow finished higher, the S&P was slightly lower, and the Nasdaq pulled back. It was down 0.9%. But strong week overall with the S&P up 1.6%, the Dow up 1.1%, Nasdaq up 1.4%. But more importantly, some back-to-back winning weeks. So now we have a weekly win streak.
Yeah, so that's good. But let's talk about the three things that could really move or rock the markets this week. And number one is earnings. I mean, this week will be the big one for earnings. So, I mean, thus far, how many companies have we had reporting thus far? I think it was 117.
117.
Yeah. And thus far, all good. We had, 84% beat expectations. And this week, super big, super busy week. Let's go over here to stock earnings for a moment, because this week we have 25% of the companies of the S&P 500 reporting earnings, and also third of the Dow companies. And if you look at it, it's pretty impressive. Today, after the close, it'll be Facebook. Then we have, Hasbro, we have General Electric, UPS. I mean, all tomorrow before the open. Look at this. Tomorrow before the open. Then we also have Twitter. We have Google will be reporting this week. Microsoft. And I mean, all this list here is just pretty much today and tomorrow. So super busy week.
Busy week for sure. Focus on big tech companies. And like you said, Marcus, with 25% of the S&P 500 reporting this week, a third of the Dow, we're going to hear a lot. And that's going to be a real focus for traders.
Yeah, and I think this week social media companies will be will be in focus, because last week we had Snapchat reporting earnings, and they were down on Friday 27%. And this is because of this what now is called Ad-Margeddon. I mean, this is after the Apple update. Did you see what happened there?
Yeah, so we have Admageddon. Gosh, I can't say it.
I know.
Admageddon. There we go. With Apple introducing a privacy feature for users and this seems to have changed how social media companies, advertising companies can target users. And Snapchat took a big hit last week because of that feature.
Yeah, but also, I mean, the other social media companies, Facebook on Friday was down 5%. Twitter was down, 4.8%. So all of them were actually down. So this will be a big one, especially with Facebook kicking off the earnings this week after the close today. So Facebook also lower 0.76% in pre-market trading. So we'll see what happens there. So definitely all eyes on the social media. Facebook has been in the news quite a lot. I mean, with the whistleblowers and Facebook's policy about moderating or regulating content. I mean, it's not looking too good for Facebook. And they announced, or there's rumors that this week there will be a name change. So apparently this is happening on Thursday. We'll see. These are speculations right now, so let's see what's happening there. So one thing that's definitely shaking the markets up this week is earnings. Let's talk about the next one. Let's talk about inflation.
Inflation. Well, we've been talking about inflation and how it is transitory, at least according to Fed Chair Jerome Powell. That's what he believes. We've seen inflation all over the place. Gosh, over the weekend, I didn't order IHOP, but I almost ordered IHOP for my wife and and I pull it up on the ad or on the on gosh, I'm all over the place. Uber Eats, and it was like $17.50 for an IHOP breakfast with pancakes.
It's
I remember when that was like $7.99. It's almost $20 for a breakfast at IHOP. That tells you that inflation is going crazy, and Jack Dorsey might have a point. So anyway, high inflation is likely to last well into the year. Jerome Powell, those are his words himself. He says that the central bank is on track to start tapering asset purchases with the aim to wrap it up in the mid, 2022. But this inflation is there and is sticking around. And Marcus, Jack Dorsey, the founder CEO, he had some comments.
Yeah, I know that he said hyperinflation is going to change everything, and he said it's happening. Now, if you look at oil price making new highs again. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, we were talking about oil prices cracking $80 a barrel. Right now, we are getting close to $85 a barrel. And this is where, yeah, I mean, this weekend I saw that people have complained that now a burrito at Chipotle is $11. So now double digits for a burrito. But I said, I mean, everything is getting more expensive. So this is where we'll see. So yeah, Jerome Powell has moved away from this transitory. And I said, well, it'll happen until well into next year, as you said. But we'll see. So definitely this week, market participants will keep an eye on inflation and then also on the yield. Let's talk about the yield for a moment. I'm switching to a weekly chart here. So the yield is creeping up again. What is the yield? What's it doing here?
So the yield is the difference between shorter term and longer term rates. And when it creeps higher, it could put pressure on companies who are rate sensitive or, have especially growth stocks that rely on cheaper money to fund their investments. And this can be an issue on tech stocks. It's interesting because even this morning we're creeping higher again, but the Nasdaq, E-mini Nasdaq, is moving higher. That could be some anticipation to earnings, though. People thinking that it's going to be a strong, week for tech. We'll see.
Well, but I mean, this is also why the Nasdaq has been lagging thus far, right? I mean, while the Nasdaq
Sure.
is not making new all-time highs just yet, because the tech companies that are in there, they are sensitive to interest rates hikes, and so this is
Yep.
what we're seeing here. All right, so
Hey,
yeah.
I was going to say, I know it goes back to the last topic, but I saw that gas spiked 13 cents last week for an average of $3.44 a gallon, and that's 180% higher than a year ago. I thought that was pretty, 180%. Yes, we had the pandemic going on, but still,
Yeah. All
talk
right.
about inflation.
Let's talk about the third thing that could shake up the markets this week, and that's Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin. Interesting. So Bitcoin made new all-time highs last week, so definitely cracking above. This weekend, dipping slightly below 60,000 yesterday, but on the rise again. And this basically because there's renewed interest with these Bitcoin ETFs trading right now. So last week we had the first one starting. It's actually an ETF that is not on Bitcoin, but on Bitcoin futures. So let's bring this up.
BITO, the ticker.
Yeah, I'm going to bring this up. BITO. Not much data there just yet because it just started trading, but it's definitely sparking interest in cryptocurrencies, especially in Bitcoin.
That's correct.
Yeah, and then we have another one. So we have a few more that are scheduled to start trading this week. So we will see. Let's take a look at Ethereum here. Ethereum, I want to go to a weekly chart. Ethereum also, in terms of closing prices, making new all-time highs. In terms of intraday prices, not just yet, but there's definitely a lot of movement right now in the cryptocurrency space.
Yeah, there is. We've had a real nice bounce off of those lows and taken out record highs. So I think that Bitcoin is something to watch, especially as more and more players start to introduce, or these funds start to introduce ETFs, if that's the new plan here.
Yeah.
Hey, Marcus, last week I didn't really talk about a stock on Friday on purpose because I see it more of as a crazy stock, but I think we have to talk about it this week, and that's Dwack.
There we go. Yeah, let's talk
Digital
about a few
World
individual stocks. Dwack. There we go.
Acquisition. Yep. So this is a SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company, and last week it went nutso, just crazy, from $9.96 a share up to $94.20, jump of 846%. So what's the deal here? It's a social media platform called Truth Social. Really, that's what we know. I mean, there's no CEO is mentioned, no financials, but this is where Trading World Acquisition Corp, Dwack, is merging, or not merging, they have a combination business with Trump Media and his technology group, or Trump Media and Technology Group. So basically, former President Trump has created this Truth Social to target Facebook and Twitter and all of those companies, creating a network here to report news. And traders went crazy over it, but I guarantee that not everybody made money on this one.
No, because I mean, you said it went up to $94. It went up to almost $180. So I mean, the high actually here, let me be precise, was $175. So at some point, this company was worth $8 billion, and now it pulled back a little bit. So right now it's worth $4 billion. And this is where he said the interesting thing is, I mean, we don't know much about the business plan. We don't know don't know much about the goals in terms of revenue or profitability. We don't know who the CEO will be. We don't know who the leadership will be. All we know is that it's called Truth Social. And as said, there's a few things that we know about the company, but yeah, it's definitely gone crazy.
Yeah, in my book, it's a gamble, and that's why I stayed away from it. It had some huge moves, but it's just too wild for me.
Yeah. Okay, there's a couple of companies that I also want to talk about this morning, and one of them is Pinterest, because Pinterest down big this morning after a huge jump last week. So this morning, pre-market trading down 15%. And here's what happened. I mean, last week, PayPal actually said, you know what, we might be interested in acquiring Pinterest. And this is where Pinterest was jumping up from, around $52 to a high here of, I want to say around $67. So huge, big jump. But then this morning, PayPal said, yeah, you know what? Never mind. So it seems that we spoke too soon, we spoke too early, we had an idea, but no, it seems that this deal is falling through. So Pinterest pulling back. On the other hand, PYPA, PayPal, moving higher here in pre-market trading, because last week when they announced it, I mean, many people had scratched their heads and say, what the heck does PayPal want to do with Pinterest? It seemed to be a marriage that didn't make sense. And this morning, after they announced, okay, let's not do this. Okay, good, back to normal. So up 5% here in pre-market trading. So that's definitely moving.
Real hard to figure out the connection and the purpose there. So interesting to see that it's not back at, both stocks aren't back exactly where they were before the news was released. Pinterest is down a little bit more than it was trading before the news. PayPal not quite back as high, but still a reversal there on those two.
All right. Last one really quick, Tesla, up 4.3% in pre-market trading. And I mean, Tesla is just on an impressive run. I mean, now making new all-time highs, and they raised prices again. I mean, they've been raising prices like crazy and no resistance. I mean, people are buying the cars. There's a huge wait time, which kind of makes sense. I mean, they're great cars. I have a Tesla. I'm loving it. And then also there were news that Hertz has reportedly ordered 100,000 Teslas as a rental company to rent out. So that's quite a lot. I mean, that's huge for Tesla. So this is where we are up 4.3% here in pre-market trading.
Agreed. That would be a nice, well, if all the rental car agencies start carrying Teslas, that's good for Tesla.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so we have an open house here in just a moment, so we'll switch over there. So we will see you in the other one, and in the open house, we will trade live the open. So see you in just a few minutes.
Happy trading, everybody.